Welcome to Star TV News. The headlines this hour with me, Ajaka Desanya. New dry port, 4-star hotel, fuel storage, among others, are what Barrow promised to revitalize URR as a regional hub. Chief threatens to sack anti-Barrow village heads. TRRC commissioners and staff visit scene of Korosise's burning. Yaya Jammeh ruined the Gambia's tourism industry. Basiru Jawara. Top APRC official pins Gambia's problem on Dabo as she also claims Barrow is better than UDP leader. TAF Global shares its progress and ambitions for the future. On the international scene, Guinea-Bissau vote count for presidential poll starts. The death toll from Kenya landslides surges to 60. U.S. Defense Secretary fires Navy chief over Iraq misconduct case. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. In the bid to reboot the regional economy of Upper River region, President Barrow announced that plans are in high gear to build a dry port and annex to the Banjul port, a 4-star hotel and 4 storage facilities to host economic activities. Maimuna Ju files in this report.
The announcement was made in the series of meetings held in the sprawling towns of Gambisara and Basse amidst much fanfare and celebrations. The new plans, in addition to the ongoing major infrastructural and development works such as the roads, bridges, the Gambia College, Annex, Rice Valley Addition Project, amongst others, will fast-track the transformation of Basse into regional economic hub as well as regain its rightful position as the second capital of the country. The president reiterated the call for the people of the region to continue supporting his development agenda to boost growth. Speaking earlier, the Minister for Tourism and Culture, Honorable Hamad Ba, expanded on the government's plan to revitalize tourism, revealing that the foundation for the 4-star hotel shall be laid immediately after the tour. The people of Jumara and Basse heap praises on President Barrow, describing him as a unifying figure and a visionary leader. The women mobilizer Fatoumata Kinte said the president has supported the agricultural initiatives of the URR women. She disclosed that 41 communities in Jumara have benefited from groundnut seedlings supplied by the government. This in addition to the milling machines and tractors, while appealing for more tractors to transport farm produce. The Minister of Petroleum and Energy, Honorable Fafa Sanyang, informed the Basse meeting that access to electricity is a right related to other development sectors such as health, agriculture, and industrialization. He spelled out the transmission and distribution plan as stated in the National Electricity Roadmap, which includes expanding electricity access to more communities in the URR. Reporting for Star TV News, I am Maimuna Juf.
The Opposition Alliance for Patriotic Reorientation and Construction, APRC, on Saturday, November 23rd, held its most talked about mega rally, dubbed the Homecoming of Babili Mansa. The rally, according to APRC top brass, is meant to pave the way in preparation for the return of former President Yaya Jammeh. Binta Koli reports.
Jammeh is currently on exile in Equatorial Guinea after he lost the 2016 presidential election to Adama Barrow. Many APRC folks believe the time is right for their supreme leader to return home. Jammeh has been accused of gross human rights violations against Gambians and non-Gambians alike. The ongoing TRRC has been revealing heartbreaking testimonies by witnesses on how those violations were committed. However, the APRC supporters still maintain that the TRRC is just a witch hunt meant for one person, and that is Yaya Jammeh. And therefore, they are on face as thousands of loyal supporters storm to Abuko car park in grand style. Speaking to party supporters at the event, interim party leader Fabakar Tombonjata says the APRC is unfazed by what he called a so-called TRRC. He applauded the supporters for not taking the commission seriously. They accused the government of composing the TRRC with enemies of Jammeh and the APRC. Therefore, they will never believe whatever is said at the commission. Mr. Gyata accused some officials of the borough government of only trying to sabotage the APRC. He accuses the government spokesperson Ibrahima Sankare of hatred towards the APRC and Jammeh. He stressed that what Sankare said that Jammeh and the APRC did nothing during their 22 years rule is nothing but a lie. He blasted the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Tambedu, who he said celebrated the soldiers that tried to overthrow the democratically elected government of Jammeh. Alhaji Barrow, who was part of the 30th November 2019 failed coup plotters, is currently the chief investigator at the TRRC. He was welcomed at the airport by state ministers. Mr. Jatta therefore believed a government that celebrates coup plotters is a joke. He therefore said the government appointing the same Alhaji Barrow to investigate Jammeh is something they can never accept. Reporting for Star TV News, I am Binta Kolim.
APRC National Women Mobilizer Aissatou Jifanga Jaju on Saturday unloaded on UDP leader Ousainou Darboe, accusing the respected politician of being the creator of all the problems in the Gambia currently. APRC on Saturday, 23rd November, held a massive rally in Abuko attended by thousands of supporters as the party presses ahead without their beloved Supreme Leader, former President Yaya Jammeh. Rado Cham files in this report.
Aissatou Jaju, speaking at the event, could not hide her antipathy towards Ousainou Darboe. As he said, Ousainou Darboe, leader of the UDP, is being the root of all the problems in this country. Mrs. Jaju said our youth mobilizer spoke about lawyer Darboe, that he is thanking him on the basis that he said lawyer Darboe had said Yaya Jammeh who built this country, but he said this out of confusion, because when he was in the government, lawyer Darboe never thanked or praised President Jammeh. If lawyer Darboe and UDP were in power today, Fabakary Tombong Jatta will not have had the time to organize his rally. He will be going every time to the police and prison to ensure APRC supporters are freed. What I want to tell APRC supporters is that between Ousainou Darboe and Adama Barrow is better than Ousainou Darboe. Ousainou Darboe is like a dumpsite fire. When one sees it, you think there is no fire, but if you put your foot in it, your whole body will get burned. All the problems in the Gambia are caused by Ousainou Darboe. Gambians are beginning to realize it. When Yaya Jammeh jailed him, they said Yaya Jammeh is evil. They all came together and said Yaya Jammeh, they are removing him. But the truth has come out. Gambians are saying Yaya Jammeh should have left him to die in jail, because now Adama Barrow, who took pride in him calling him dad, is the one he is destroying now. So Ousainou Darboe sees nothing other than himself. Reporting for Star TV News, I am Dada Cham.
TAF Africa Global Gambia held a press conference at the pre-launch Dalaba Housing Estate on Saturday, 23rd November, where they shared their progress over the past 3 decades and their ambitions for the future. Jacqueline Collier reports.
The Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director of TAF Africa Global, Mr. Mustafa Njai, said the new Dalaba Estate is one of its kind in the Gambia. Mr. Njai noted that Dalaba Estate, located off the Sukuta-Jabang Highway, is the newest of their estates and consists of nearly 400 homes, where every street will be paved with interlocking bricks, solar lights, and a wide variety of other features. Adding that this project forms a key part of their objective to build 10,000 houses in the Gambia over the next 10 years. Mr. Njai furthered that his company, TAF Africa Global, holds a conference annually called TAFCon, which he regarded as one of the biggest networking events in the Gambia, which seeks to bring together different stakeholders such as the government, civil society, policymakers, academics, the youth and media to discuss pressing economic and social issues relevant to the growth and development of the country. He said they will be honoring Madam Fatou Bom Bensouda, Chief Prosecutor of the ICC, as their special guest speaker. Mr. Njai stressed that he has passion for youth leadership and development, which resulted in the establishment of TAF Leadership Academy, a year-long leadership training for tertiary-level students to be able to harness their leadership skills. He said 50 fellows of the first cohort will be graduating during the TAFCon on the 8th of January 2020. Mr. Njai revealed that they have acquired lands as far as Pirang, which means they have gone rural in terms of development, not just in the urban areas, and they will surely cater for the social class to make housing much affordable. Jacqueline Colley, Star TV News.
The Gambia Police Force on Saturday, 23rd November 2019, launched a network that will promote the agenda of the female police officers at the police headquarters in Banjul. Binta Colley sends us this report.
This organization is geared towards bringing together female police officers to the Gambia Police in striving for an agenda that will empower the Ghanaian female officers. The network was established on the 17th of October 2017. The Vice President of the Republic of the Gambia, Dr. Aissatou Toure, applauded the Gambia Police Force for establishing a network that will stimulate the welfare of female officers. She also indicated that it is high time for women to take the lead in decision-making. Vice President Toure indicated that gender equality and women inclusion plays a central role in the democratic society. Dr. Toure highlighted that her government's commitment in promoting social and economic development of women. The Inspector General of the Gambia Police Force, Alhaji Momodu Job, shed light on the aims and objectives of the newly launched network. He also extolled the founders of the Gambia Police Force Women Network. The president of the Gambia Female Police Network, Commissioner Lala Kamara, who doubles as the chairperson of the network, said the network is created to discuss gender and issues of affecting women in the police force. Commissioner Kamara concluded by urging all the men and women to open doors of opportunities in order for the women folks to sign and explore their potentials. Bintekoli, Star TV News.
And now in the international scene, counting has begun in Guinea-Bissau's presidential election, where President José Mario Vaz is seeking to extend another term. However, Domingos Simoes Pereira from the powerful African Party of the Independence of Cape Verde and Guinea-Bissau is the fourth runner in this race. The improvised country's main challenges are fighting corruption and improving the economy, hindered by years of political instability. Al Jazeera's Nicholas Haig reports from Bissau.
This is Aissatou Balde's first presidential election. Since early Sunday morning, she's kept a close tally of the votes in her neighborhood as an independent observer for candidate Simoes Domingo Pereira. For Balde, this election campaign isn't just about choosing a new president, but it's also about changing the country's divisive political culture.
When candidates, they start insulting other candidates, and I think this kind of behavior already shows the kind of person you are and what you can do for your country in the future.
Are you confident? Pereira is the frontrunner in this election. He's the candidate of the powerful African Party of the Independence of Cape Verde and Guinea-Bissau, also known as the PAIGC. It was founded by independence leader Amilcar Cabral, and to this day, all presidents have been from this party, and it continues to hold the majority of seats in parliament. Important to note, however, is that the function of the president is limited to nominating a prime minister.
Whoever gets the most votes and is elected into office will have to share power with the PAIGC. And although incumbent President José Mario Vaz is much to blame for the current political crisis, opposition candidates say that the PAIGC and its members have their share of responsibility for the political crisis.
Pereira fought with Vaz over the management of resources. He enjoys the support of Angola, who's looking to exploit bauxite in this unexplored, mineral-rich country. West African countries like Nigeria and Senegal view Angola's interest in Guinea-Bissau with suspicion.
When people relate me to Angola, to Portugal, and all these countries, I feel very, very comfortable. Because the same way I talk to Angolans, I talk to Nigerians. I'm an African.
Additional West African troops have been deployed as part of a stabilizing force. Some of these countries support rival candidate Embalo Sissoko. Caught in this regional power play are the people of Bissau, like nurse Dos Santos, who has gone almost a year without pay because of the political crisis, or unemployed graduate student Abunjumbua, who can't find work. For Balde, this election is a chance to finally get a say in the direction of her country. Nicholas Hawk, Al Jazeera, Bissau.
Heavy rains triggered a landslide which hit Kenya's West Pokot country in the northwest on Sunday, causing at least 60 people to die. But with bridges and roads swept away, rescuers are struggling to reach all of the affected villages and are unsure how many people are missing. President Uhuru Kenyatta has mobilized the armed forces, and local officials say they are in desperate need of medicines, clothes and blankets. Al Jazeera's Victoria Gettenby reports.
William and his 6-year-old son Gilbert have been searching for hours, but so far there's no sign of Gilbert's missing 8-year-old sister or 4-year-old brother.
It was about midnight. We heard a loud noise and then we were swept away by floodwater. I heard my son screaming. I rescued him, his mother and one other child. But 2 of my children were swept away. We're yet to recover their bodies.
This mother is searching for her 16-year-old daughter, who was at a friend's house when the landslide hit on Saturday in Kenya's West Pokot County.
I'm here looking for my daughter's body. I want to know who can help me get her body back.
Red Cross aid workers are recording the names of people who are missing. Relatives are reluctant to leave, but politicians worried about the possibility of more flooding and landslides are urging them to evacuate the area as soon as possible.
I know some people might want to stick, kusema this is my land, I have nowhere else to go, but to avert a situation like this where we are losing 19 children, 19 innocent souls, I am requesting all of us to leave these places and go to the safer grounds.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has sent the armed forces to help, but with roads and bridges destroyed, rescue efforts have been delayed.
We have recovered about 4 bodies, and we are yet to retrieve or get 17 bodies. We don't know where they are unaccounted for, but the tragedy was very bad.
The governor of West Pokot says they're short of medicine, clothes and blankets. He's appealing for urgent help. Victoria Gatenby, Al Jazeera.
At least 6 people have been killed in violence between tribes in the Red Sea state of Sudan. Authorities imposed a curfew to try and stop the fighting, but there is a demand for the government to do more. Al Jazeera's Heber Morgan reports from the Red Sea state.
A few days ago, Muhammad Saleh was cleaning in the restaurant where he works when men carrying swords and knives raided it and attacked him. Muhammad is a member of the Beni Amir tribe. He says he was targeted because of his ethnicity. What began as a normal day at work ended with him in hospital, contemplating living the rest of his life with a serious disability.
I was simply wiping the tables when they entered the restaurant in large numbers. They were from the Had Andawa tribe, and they started attacking us. One drew his sword, and with one blow, he cut off my hand.
Ethnic violence broke out between the Beni Amir and the Hadendawa tribes in Sudan's Red Sea state last week. It was the latest incident in a wave of outbreaks over the last 6 months. Health workers say more than 6 people were killed and more than a dozen injured. It started after an opposition leader returned to the state, which had been under a state of emergency for nearly 3 months. Witnesses say people from his tribe celebrated his return, but that provoked tension and fighting. Ali Jafar, who's from the Hadendawa tribe, was among those wounded. He says he was stabbed with a knife.
I was waiting for transportation and suddenly I was hit on the back with a knife. I did not know what started the fighting at the time, but everyone drew out their knives and swords to fight.
Since June, sporadic violence here has killed nearly 100 people and left more than 250 wounded, according to health workers. 2 pacts have been signed in the past 2 months to try and contain the tribal tensions. But people here say they are worried there are temporary solutions to problems that go back decades. The Beni Amir people live in eastern Sudan and also parts of neighboring Eritrea. But for decades, other tribes have viewed them as outsiders, and they accuse them of backing Sudan's former government, ousted in April after months of anti-government protests. And while that government may have gone, the rivalry hasn't. Sudan's new transitional government says it's working to resolve the problem, but it will take time.
For now, we are focusing on a security solution because of the regular outbreaks of fighting between the tribes. But the solution, the long-term solution, has to be political, and that would need all sides to sit down and dialogue. So while we're working on the political solution, we're addressing this by securing and increasing forces in the state to contain the situation.
Muhammad Saleh says he hadn't expected to see such violence, but he wasn't surprised it happened. And he worries that if no political solution is found, there will be more outbreaks of violence and more lives lost. Hiba Morgan, Al Jazeera, Port Sudan.
United States Defense Secretary Mark Esper fired the U.S. Navy's top official on Sunday over his handling of the case of a Navy SEAL who was convicted of battlefield misconduct in Iraq, but later won the support of President Donald Trump. Richard Spencer was sacked over his handling of a high-profile war crimes case in which Edward Gallagher was acquitted of murdering a captured and wounded ISIL fighter but was convicted of illegally posing with the man's corpse. The controversy pitted the Navy commander against President Donald Trump. Al Jazeera's Gabriel Elizondo reports from Washington, D.C.
The top commander of the U.S. Navy one day shot down rumors he was going to step down over the handling of a war crimes case involving a Navy SEAL named Eddie Gallagher.
Contrary to popular belief, I'm still here. I did not threaten to resign. But let us just say that we're here to talk about external threats, and Eddie Gallagher is not one of them.
On the next day after those comments, Navy Secretary Richard Spencer did not have to resign. On Sunday evening, he was abruptly fired after pushing back against President Donald Trump. It all stems from the case of the Navy SEAL who walked out of a military jail in July a free man after being acquitted of war crimes. He was accused by fellow Navy SEALs of murder in Iraq in 2017, including shooting unarmed civilians and stabbing a wounded teenager to death. Gallagher, whose lawyers argued any civilians he killed was done so in the heat of battle, was happy with the acquittal. Top Navy commanders were not, and demoted him in rank after pushing for his expulsion from the SEALs because he was found guilty of a lesser charge of posing for photographs with a dead Iraqi. But the Special Operations soldier had a powerful ally at his side, President Donald Trump, who pardoned Gallagher for any wrongdoing, restored his rank, and demanded the Navy halt any further investigations against him. And that is what led to Spencer's firing, who in a departure letter to the president wrote he cannot in good conscience obey orders from Trump he believes, quote, violate the sacred oath he took as Navy commander. Trump tweeted Sunday night the reason Spencer was fired was because he was not pleased with the way Gallagher's trial was handled and cost overruns within the Navy. When Trump pulled U.S. troops out of northern Syria in October, it was against the advice of the Pentagon. This entire ordeal with the Navy SEAL is just the latest example of a president not afraid to use his title as Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. Armed Forces to defy military commanders when he deems it necessary. Gabriel Elizondo, Al Jazeera, Washington.
And before we end the news, a recap of our main headlines. New dry port, 4-star hotel, fuel storage, among others, are what Barrow promised to revitalize URR as a regional hub. Top APRC official pins Gambia's problems on Dabo, as she also claims Barrow is better than UDP leader. TAF Global shares its progress and ambitions for the future. That's all for this edition of the news. Please enjoy the rest of our programs and join us tomorrow for more news. Thank you.